Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of season 3. I am one of your hosts, Michael Abney, and I'm here today with
Marilyn Egan, and we have a wonderful guest with us today, Julia Bramer. We're so excited that you're here.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about you, Julia.
Okay, well, I am a professional tarot card reader. I've been reading cards for 40 years, about a decade professionally, not 40 professionally, but started when I was 16, so you can do the math. I'm also an author and scholar of the poet Sylvia Plath, and all of that, surprisingly, kind of touches into mysticism in ways that most people aren't aware of, especially regarding the Plath work, which I'll talk about.
Yes, actually, why don't we start with that? Why don't you tell us of how you got connected to her work and how it works with you?
Sure. Okay. Well, I've been reading Plath since I was a teenager, which at 16 was the age that I started using tarot and actually started having premonitions. It was all around the same time. And, coincidence? I don't know. Not sure I believe in coincidence anymore.
No. How about synchronicity?
Right. Yeah. We'll say that. So I was drawn to her as a young person, kind of found her again in college. Most people know Plath as a depressive suicide. Mm-hmm. And some people know her she was both a poet and a novelist. A lot of people know her very famous novel, The Bell Jar, which is also pretty miserable and very, very autobiographical, and about her electric shock treatments after a suicide attempt, and so she doesn't have the happiest story. It's kind of what I'm getting at. But when I was in graduate school, going back for my MFA in creative writing, poetry, and fiction, because I do both as well,
yes,
I noticed that there was a lot of tarot symbolism in Plath's work. And I brought it to the attention of my professor, and I said, Dr. Schreiner, what's the deal? This is clearly the Empress and the Lovers and just pointing out different cards that to me it was screamingly apparent. And he said, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. And he said, why don't you look into this, make it your semester end project? And, and I was like, great. And I was excited, and I thought that would be the end of it. Well, it kind of became my life's work. So what I came to find out was Plath herself was heavily into mysticism. She had her own tarot deck, which she kept on her desk when she wrote. She has been photographed with crystal balls. She has done automatic writing. She has done Kundalini yoga. She has done all kinds of meditations and astrology and astronomy. And her husband, Ted Hughes, who she worshipped, was very deeply into the occult. And he's put it all in his work, and it has been written widely about. But nobody saw it. Nobody thought to look in Sylvia Plath's work for it. And I just find it so interesting, especially, I listened to your program about the shift, and it is such an interesting time for me with this work because, there's sort of this rise of new femininity and doing away with the old kind of paternalistic mindsets, and that makes so much sense with her because she has been held in this very narrow viewpoint of misery,
Yes.
And the woman who was her husband was a philanderer. We know this to be a fact. So she's been seen only as angry and bitter and suicidal, and yes, she died when she was 30. She died almost exactly 9 months before I was born in 1963. We have, Sylvia and I have some weird coincidences in our lives. She lost her father when he was 8. Her father had lost his left leg. My grandfather died when I was 8, and he had lost his left leg. Oh. My grandmother's name was Sylvia. There's all this. I call it my Lincoln Kennedy coincidence. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I totally have chills.
Yes, me too.
It's pretty interesting.
I hate to point out the obvious, but 9 months after she died, have you thought?
I've looked into that. And, there really isn't, outside of that being the gestation period, it isn't really a point of reincarnation in most religions anyway. But, and I don't really think I'm her, but I do think she's helping me. Because.
How about a thread?
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a connection.
There's a connection.
Yes, a connection.
I didn't necessarily get the reincarnation thing, but it was it was on point with the 9 months.
What I came to learn is that for the last 50-some years, everybody has misunderstood her work. And they've been reading it only in this sort of very high, superficial level view of, autobiography. And there's some of that, but it is deep. And what she did in her words, she was a genius's genius. And she made a single set of words do, I found a minimum of 6 different jobs. In the same poem, you can read and interpret 6 different ways, and she did this 40 times across her work Ariel, which is what I was studying for my graduate thing.
So what pops into my mind about that is maybe the time period and how women were viewed in general in society. And instead of seeing one perspective, they tended to see that one. How do you feel about that and everything you've studied?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting because I have been through the ringer with academia, and they don't want to hear this. And they've, pretty much they just ignore me or laugh at me. But I've published a lot of papers, and I've published 3 books on this now, and I've got a lot more books that are in various stages of completion, and it's just a matter of getting them out around the day job of being a professional tarot card reader.
Yes.
But it's my most important work, and I'm not exactly sure. If you had told me when I started this back in 2007, I guess I started the Plath work, if you had said what I would be up against and how I would be maligned, and just the actual financial expense, the time expense, the emotional drain, I'm not sure I would have said, no way, I'm not signing on to do that. And yet I can't help myself, because I do feel like I was chosen. And when I've been stuck, I just ask her for help. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I had it in a dream. Or there was one time I was actually told, literally, like audibly, I had an incident where I came up against a set of words that correlated very strongly to something Aleister Crowley wrote, and his it was like a prayer, and it was really dark. It was like to the great beast 666, creepy stuff. And I was like, in that moment, I didn't know that I wanted to even pursue this anymore. I thought, was she in dark stuff? I'm not going there. That's, I have this Christian background. I'm a nice girl. and it really disturbed me. And I went to bed that night troubled, like, I don't even know if I want to do this. And I heard her voice, which I know because I've heard her in recordings very many times. And she said, plain as day, very loud, move through. And I jerked awake, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I thought, okay, I'll finish this poem, I'll go to the next. And then it made perfect sense, because she wrote her poems in the book Ariel to align with the major arcana, actually with the entire tarot, but the poems that I was working on was the major arcana poems. And I was in number 14, which was temperance. And there was a lot of kind of build up to number 15, which is the devil card. And so she was paying homage, kind of, to the devil. I mean, not in a worshipful way,
Yes.
but it's part of the process. The devil is part of the journey, you know.
Yes, and the growth.
Exactly.
And when she said move through it, it wasn't ignore it. It wasn't jump over it.
And it wasn't stay there either.
Right. It wasn't stay there. It was just acknowledge and move through.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it taught me a lot just in my own fears that come up and preconception and just things I didn't know I was so Christian, honestly, until that moment.
Yeah.
So but I've learned so much. It brought me into studying alchemy, which I'm not by no means a chemist, practitioner, or anything like that, but I learned alchemy is a threefold process. So there's the practical alchemy of the chemistry, which we know, like in Harry Potter and that sort of thing. And then there's the emotional, psychological alchemy, like Jungian alchemy, where you're processing as an individual, trying to reach your highest potential. And then there's the spiritual alchemy of attaining your God self, and that's the gold state, of course, that we're all trying to rise from lead to gold. I didn't know any of this stuff until Plath.
Why did you say lead to gold?
Lead, as in the base metal, lead, the dirty, that's
Heavy.
what the alchemists have. Yeah, that's the symbol.
When I grew up in the country, I grew up in the country. My dad worked for a lead mine.
Oh, interesting.
Like I grew up literally on top of the
And look
world's
at you.
largest veins of lead known in the planet.
Oh, and now you're
They're like a
gold.
mile wide and a mile high, or mile tube in the earth, and that's what they all dug it out. But we don't use lead anymore for hardly anything except for batteries. But
Right.
Yeah.
I had a hit when you said that, like lead to gold.
There's your book, Michael.
That's what I heard.
Right.
That was the name of my book, Lead
Nice.
to Gold.
Nice.
Thank you. I'll
You're,
have to read it.
you're very welcome.
We're doing readings already. Like, so we had talked, like, when we reached out, we had communicated right at the very beginning of the season about this. And so I'm completely fascinated with, and since the time that I talked to you, I found this on YouTube. This lady, her channel's called Rosology, and she's just got like 4 piles of cards, and like which one, she has a different question. And then you pick one that you want, that is yours, and then she goes to it and does that reading. So it's either 1, 2, or 3, or 4. I think she's got 4 different piles. And I never really was interested after we had talked, and then I found that, and I did one of them, and it was the most on point
Really? Nice.
experience. And I'm like, it provided a huge, like, wind beneath your wings sort of feeling, like, oh, yes. So I saw value, like a new way. I just never really looked at tarot as, I guess I just had the belief of, like, what most people think of, like, tarot, like, in the world,
Madame
like
Cleo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that comes from, I grew up in a Christian home, and that was a no-no. That was the devil.
Sure.
So like, it's interesting. I know now that's not true, but like, it's just from your experience coming through, like what you deal with,
Yeah.
from doing it, you said 40 years now to now, like, what is that arc like for you?
Yeah. Well, I do think that my Plath work made me an infinitely better tarot card reader, because by understanding her expansion, I learned what Kabbalah was, which, if you've ever talked about Kabbalah here, would you like me to give a high level kind of?
Yeah, because we've
summary?
never talked about it.
If you think of Kabbalah as like communication, and then there are ways to communicate. And so Kabbalah is sort of God's divine roadmap for the world. And then we have our ways that we operate in it. one of the ways of Kabbalah would be astrology, numerology, even mythology is in there. They're sort of all telling the same story in the same structure. And so you'll find if you do studies across the board of occult sciences, they're all the hero's journey, and they're all the same kind of growth. And it's just been intuited. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're looking at. It doesn't matter if you're looking at East African shaman, or if you're looking in Peru, or if you're looking in Native America culture, or even Catholicism. I mean, there's the same stories over and over. So Kabbalah began as ancient Jewish mysticism, and it was spelled with a K, and then the Christians got hold of it, and they made their kind of brand of it, spelling it with a C. And then the Hermetics, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, who produced the first modern-day tarot deck around about the turn of the century, 1900s, they spell it with a Q. And in my Plath work, I've been spelling it with a Q just because I found that Plath and her husband, Ted Hughes, seem to have Hermetic following. That they just seem to be more truly Hermetic than Christian or Jewish in their belief system.
How did you, today, what do people experience, or what is your perception of what they experience when they're having a reading with you?
Most everyone tells me that I am unlike any other tarot card reader they've met.
I get that.
Yes.
Totally get that.
Me too.
It's funny. If you look me up, CBS Radio calls me St. Louis's #1 fortune teller, and I just cringe. I just say, "Oh gosh, no." But it's nice, and it brings me clients. So that's a blessing. But all of my regular clients, of which I have many, I mean, I do this, it is the only work I do, and I'm really busy, and I even have to kind of push it back sometimes because I can't work 24/7. But my clients will tell me that I bring a lot, I teach with analogies, I teach with my spiritual path, I see within the cards. And so I might look at a card and be triggered by something from like A Course in Miracles, which I've studied, or even something from the Bible, from Sunday school. I just relate. I'm a regular in a Buddhist women's group that I participate in every Thursday morning. I was there today, just reading a lot in general. Working with people like Marilyn and her Sacred Circle, which I've just joined. I get information, I get teachings, and I almost always just find a way to share them through the tarot. So if I'm reading for you, Michael, there's a real good chance that a card will come up and it'll just trigger something for me. And I'll just, Michael needs to know about this. And sometimes it's very, very clearly shown in the picture. And to me, I can look at certain cards and they're just so obviously the story of, take something like Judgment, which you look at it, and it's Judgment Day, and God is calling the bodies out of the coffins. That's what's pictured. And when I see that, there is, in some tarot books, they say that is a card of karma. Well, we all know karma isn't good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. We all know that's not true. So I read it as more like in the Bible when they say, as you sow, so you shall reap. Mm-hmm. And what we sow, of course, are seeds. So when I see, if you had the Judgment card in reverse, say, I would say, oh, Michael, you're doing too much from that negative energy. You might be making decisions based out of guilt or out of fear. You might be, if you're looking for a job and you're doing it from a place of, oh my God, if I don't get something soon, I'm going to go crazy in this place. That's negative energy, and that would not pay off for you. But if you're looking from a place of positivity, that would be like, how can I be a gift? what can I bring to this company or this industry that I've never worked in to, make a difference in the community or maybe even the world. So that's the kind of thing where I can look at a tarot card and all of that is unpacked within it, or packed within it.
I have a question about that too. So the cards up one side and down the other. However, someone could get the same card someone else did, and your intuition gets triggered with their specific message, I'm assuming.
And that's where people are unique. I mean, if you look at any tarot book, you will see a number of different meanings for the same card. You can look at the Hermit, and sometimes he's an old man, and sometimes he is just about being alone, and sometimes he's more about wisdom and teaching, and sometimes he's the student, and sometimes he's the trailblazer, and it's all there, and it's all kind of in the picture, but that's where the intuition is connecting with the other person.
Perfect. That's what I love.
And that's probably why
about
people
that.
say that about you, is that you bring more than a card reading.
Yeah. So I always tell my new clients, I say, I believe I can read your cards because we're connected just by being alive. I call that life force God. I don't tell people how to do God or what to call God, totally your business. But if you can go there, then you can say, okay, I'm alive, I'm hooked into this God system, and here we go, and that gives you power to make changes. So if we see something coming up that you don't like, then okay, it's a heads up. You can do it differently. So I would never tell anyone they're doomed or anything like that. There are options always.
Because you're bringing awareness to something via that tool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying also, we obviously can't change the past, but we can find new meaning in the past. And we can find gifts in things that were hard, and maybe even, we might not want to do it again, but...
Right. Well, and that's something that we've talked about before, is that those challenges, those really difficult times in our life, if we look for it, there's beauty in it. And I think that's what you're saying, is helping to show people the beauty and the gifts that came from those challenges and those hard times. And that's huge. That's a huge gift to give someone.
Yeah. So it's important work, I think. And and I know I've changed a lot of lives because I get a lot of wonderful calls and letters, and so I never set out to be a professional tarot card reader. It just kind of happened, and I was teaching for a little while, and it just got ridiculous because I was actually losing money as a teacher, sad but true, and the tarot, just the demand kept going on, and so I guess it was in about 2009, I said, okay, I'll totally, I stopped doing other work and did it entirely professionally.
Another gift I see in you is your ability to come into a reading in neutrality.
Yeah.
Like, you have no judgment, you have no preconceived ideas, and you just come into it with the cards and your mind clear, and you tell them what they need to hear.
Well, I don't shy away from my past. I tell everyone I have no judgment, because if I haven't done it, I've seen it.
Right.
And I have a history. I was a teenage alcoholic, which I actually have a theory on that as I've gotten older and met other psychics and just very sensitive people. I think a lot of us, the world will tell you you're too sensitive or oversensitive, and it's a way to cope.
Yes.
And way to numb out your pain, and you don't have to go there, and you can try to feel normal. But I got clean and sober when I found out I was pregnant with my first son. I was 22 at that time, so I haven't had a drop of alcohol in all that time.
Yay.
And or illicit drugs.
Yeah.
So So yeah, and I don't judge, and I have seen a lot and felt a lot, and if it hasn't been my personal experience, I mean, my ex-husband used to joke and say that back in the days when Oprah was on in the 80s, he'd say, "You have had every problem on Oprah with the exception of not knowing your sexual orientation." And you know, and that was kind of true, you know, and as far as that goes, I've got really good friends, you know, and
Exactly.
so I can feel it all. Truly an empath, I think, and so I think people do feel heard and understood in a way that I'm not just telling them stuff about themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I love that because you're also seeing the challenges you went through as a gift for you and the beauty in your life now.
Right.
So,
yeah.
yay.
I'm currently reading an old book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And Frankl was a Jew in Auschwitz, and I think there was another concentration camp he was in also. But you know, he lost everybody and everything for a time, and he built this whole philosophy that he calls logotherapy, and it's basically finding meaning in everything. And which is different from purpose. Like purpose seems very goal-oriented and driven, and meaning is sort of just, there's an acceptance in meaning and just understanding it's part of this big story, this tapestry we're all threads in.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So everything in this podcast is about living life consciously. That's the whole premise of everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, and sometimes we set out with an outline of what we want it to be, but we just let go and it just emerges.
Yeah.
So it's so cool that this season so far has been a lot of like different types of people who read energy at different modalities, and it's all connecting us back to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So like if you're doing a reading and somebody connects with something and they know that there's no way that you could have known that activates that in with themselves and helps them to trust.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I just saw that while you were talking. So that's something that I never pieced together. So thank you for allowing me to see that.
Sure.
But if somebody's listening to this and this is something that they want to explore, they're obviously, all people listen to us, we're not in a lot of countries, so people are listening to us all over. So how would they go about trying to find somebody like you that was at your level? Is there something that they can look for? Is there or some sort of knowledge that you can share about the system, the tarot system, and how you read, that would give them insight on connecting with the right person for themselves?
Yeah. For the record, I do read for people all over the world.
Oh, that's right. You could do it anywhere.
Because we're such a global community now with things like Zoom and Skype and FaceTime, and so juggling time zones can be a nightmare. But I'll get up early for someone in Africa, and I do on occasion. I've read for people in Hong Kong and Africa, and I have a regular client in Germany and Australia, so it's all over. But in finding somebody to work with, I think we are called to them. You know, the teacher will appear when the student's ready. Marilyn, I think you're kind of one of those people to me.
Yes.
So I definitely regard you as a mentor, and I learned so much from you. And with my sessions from Marilyn, I almost always have the big epiphany, whatever it is, and even life-changing kind of things that. Sometimes I know it when I'm on her table. Sometimes I know it as I'm leaving. Sometimes it's the next morning. But So you're a powerful medicine man. woman.
Well, thank you. That's great to hear. But it's like you, when you do your readings, I do my part, you do your part, and we just facilitate the energy. And like you said, we're drawn to each other for a reason. The people who are drawn to you are drawn to you for a reason. So you can be that conduit.
Yeah.
I think we serve as conduits. And that's a beautiful way of explaining that.
Yeah.
So.
Something I've noticed in my work, my life lately, I was talking before the program with Marilyn about the program about the shift and how big into the shift I am right now. And in this last year or so, certain people are falling away. Certain people, sometimes I was hurt by it. Sometimes I consciously nope, I don't want anything to do with that energy. And then I've got a lot of new energy also, which has been surprising, new friends. And it's just, it's a very interesting year for me. I kind of took this year off. I felt quite defeated about the whole writing and academia end of my Plath work. And I sort of just said, I need a break for a while. And I've been working on myself pretty much in every way, physically, returning to the gym, returning to yoga. I've tripled my meditation time, just doing a lot more reading, a lot more studying, and feeling like there's a lot of different growth that maybe I didn't have time for a while. So hopefully Sylvia is cheering me on and not forgiving me, or not being angry with me for taking a year off of working on her stuff. But I'm getting back to that very soon. And I forget where I was going with that, but it's we are definitely drawn to some people, and it's just clearly for a reason, and it's all set up. And I don't think we have to look for it. I think it just happens.
Just happens.
Yeah.
And I think your year off was also, which we've kind of talked about this before, that we're kind of preparing for what's coming in the future. We don't really know what that is, but when we feel drawn to take time off and rest, we'd better do that to serve us and everyone we work with.
Yeah.
So
as a tarot card reader, something I've said even on some news programs that I've been interviewed for in the past, I always say, love him or hate him, Donald Trump is in total alignment with this transformation, with this shift that we're in. When the Mayan calendar ended in December 2012, the tarot is also in line with that. And so that's the Tower phase. The Tower phase began at that time, and they say that this change from the old age of Pisces, the warring paternalistic age, to the new age of Aquarius, the age of love and motherhood and sisterhood and more feminine energy. There's like a 33-year transition from one to the other. So we're in the Tower card right now in the tarot, and if you look at the Tower card, it's terrifying. The lightning has struck, and this building is blowing up, and bodies are falling off it, and it's definitely not happy. I think, how interesting, Trump Tower, right?
wow.
But so I say, love him or hate him. It's a change maker, and the fact is, we know and have known for 40 or 50 years. Doesn't matter who the president is. He's been bought and paid for by Goldman Sachs. This is fact, They pay for both parties to get their way. And so this is different.
Yeah.
It's making us look at the whole
different.
system instead of the red or blue. Which one you're going to go with this time?
Right.
Like the binary choice that we've all have.
Right. And just because, that death rattle, those last holdouts for the old way, I mean, we're seeing it today with all this big division, I think, between people. And, the Democrats, the Republicans, everybody's hateful right now, and I sure don't want to be a part of that. I'm trying not to get sucked into it, but I think it's wanting the old ways. It's wanting to do what was familiar, what we knew,
right?
Instead of what's
really coming,
exactly,
and here,
which is going to be different. So normally, after the Tower card, do you normally see a more uplifting, higher vibration?
If that was happening
through?
Then, and that was a tarot, I never associated tarot cards with time.
I didn't either, but that's
right.
interesting.
See, I associate everything I apply to tarot.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
So the card that precedes the Tower is the Star, which is the beautiful maiden at the water, and it is ushering in the age of Aquarius.
So when's that one getting
here? Well, whatever our math is, it'll be roughly 33 years from 2012 to. So we are truly, what the old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. We got them. We've got the most interesting times, maybe, to watch one age go into the next, and
yes,
we'll be old. Maybe we won't be here to see it. I sure hope so. I intend to. I had a vision not that long ago, maybe about 10 years ago. I saw myself in a wheelchair, and I was older than dirt. And my two sons were standing beside me, and they were old men. And I knew in that moment I'm going to be 100 or more. Yes. So I'm sticking with that.
Yeah. I think that as time goes on, we're going to be able to live longer if we choose to, in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. So, and that could be part of the reason. I don't really know. We don't really know exactly how it's going to look, but I do believe that star time is coming, and I'd like to be here to see it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it still shifts gradually towards that, correct? Okay, so
yes.
I mean, literally as we speak now, like in this moment, I feel it.
I feel it too.
Like
So I told Marilyn this before we started. I have been seeing doctors at the Dizziness and Balance Institute because I am shifting so bad. I mean, it's really becoming a problem in my life. Now, I did damage my inner ear in the summer on an airplane ride with the cabin pressure, and I had a cold, and it all pow. But we were having a laugh about real interesting timing, because my world is literally shifting all the time, and it's weird. It's a weird feeling, and I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
So.
Yes.
But I was
It's
referring to the
quickly.
entire world. Like it was when I heard that little Greta girl, the Greta Thunberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been practicing her name.
You're like the
Yes.
third
I'm
person
gonna meet
today
you.
who's mentioned her to me.
She's complete.
Yes.
One girl, one 16-year-old girl.
One
Stirred up
ferocious.
the world.
That one speech when she said, "How dare you?" Something flipped in me, because who she was being in that moment, I felt like I was called to be that about waking up.
Yeah.
Like, this is a no shit moment. Like,
Right.
seriously.
Right.
Like, we have to, I don't want to pussyfoot around about that anymore. You know, like, it's just, or tiptoe around it, you know, like, it's just, if somebody, it just woke something up in me, and it felt that shift. And then right after that, the whole thing that we're experiencing now in the political situation, like, that I feel is different now, because I had resigned myself. Like, this is not going to change.
Yeah.
But I felt something different this time.
Yeah.
Like, it was internal. It's connect. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm seeing like these little grass shoots come out of like, it's just time to be okay with, kids, you've been looking at an illusion. Like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to keep talking about the physical anymore. We could talk about the energy part that created the physical part.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that
And
make
I
sense?
feel like it is moving faster. We've talked about how time is different, that we're moving more into a divine timing way of life. So we really don't know if it's going to be 33 years or if it's going to be way less than that. We don't really know because time is changing also.
And I tell you this
in
week,
our life, in our daily life.
All this week, I'm sitting here, but my mind is like, it's Saturday. I'm always 2 days ahead. This entire week, I've been 2 days ahead.
I have to stop and think every single day, what day of the week is this?
Yeah.
And what time of day is it?
I keep thinking I'm missing an appointment. I'm sitting like, oh, that's not till 2 days from now. Like, but it's something is globally, because I get connected to it and I sense it.
And I find my grandchildren are in that divine timing all the time.
Nice.
Which, like I said, is difficult when you have to meet the bus. But in every other part of life, it's really a beautiful thing that they can move in that way.
Yeah.
And connect to time in that way. So,
but we've been in this game for a minute, all of us, been experiencing this world for quite some time. But people that haven't, I know that they're going through the same experience, but just with a whole lot of fear around it.
Right.
That's natural.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, and this would be a great way to kind of wind down for today, is from your perspective, if somebody is starting to wake up, because I know how powerful it is to have a validation in a reading situation.
Sure.
Because it does click and it almost instills a new level of confidence. It takes away the lostness feeling and creates a little bit of clarity and stability for somebody. So when I just have sympathy or compassion for people that haven't had the blessing or experience that I've had, understanding energy and how it works, because I love my life now. I love it.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of all this chaos.
Yeah.
But
Isn't that something?
I feel more empowered. I feel more clear. Marilyn and I have talked about how powerful it is and how we want to be ready for anybody that needs anything as they shift through, because I know how incredibly fearful that could be.
Yeah.
And then what that experience would do to another human soul that didn't quite know yet.
Sure.
So another reason why we have this podcast is a platform to talk about these types of things. But from your perspective, I'm just really curious about somebody waking up and how you see what you do and all the people around the world that do what you do, because there's many of them. I feel it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not looking at any other tarot readers as competition or anything like that. I mean, certainly we all have our different voices. You wouldn't want just one kind of, one musician in the world. What a drag that would be, right?
Correct.
And so we all have our different messages and gifts to bring. And I encourage a lot of my clients who feel drawn to the tarot, start reading themselves. I think it's a little tough.
You do recommend that?
Oh, sure. I think it's tough to read for yourself. I mean, but learn the cards.
How would they do that?
There are a number of books that I usually do recommend. I mean, I learned initially from what they call the little LWBs, the little white booklets that they put in the box, and when you buy a tarot deck. And I always thought that is the best to learn from, because it pushes you to trust your intuition. It's not going to give you a lot of extra. And I learned real quick about how much story is told in the pictures. And so if you've got a good beginning deck, which I think Universal Weight, Rider Weight, that's like the best beginning deck, you fly with that and your little LWB. But if you want to read more into it, a really good book, which is out of print right now, but you can find a lot of used copies, is called Understanding the Tarot by Jane Lyle, Lyle. And it was my Bible for a long time, and I think that gave me an understanding that every card not only just has its sort of meanings, but it has numbers. It taught me some numerology. It taught me some astrology and astronomy. There are all these correlatives, and that's why the tarot is such a beautiful expression of Kabbalah, because there are there's numerology in the tarot, and there's mythology in the tarot, and it all feeds, and the tarot is just sort of the universal language, I think, and that's why it's so good. It speaks for so many different people. Cultures. It doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. So
we can all still connect.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
Well,
perfect.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Get all of your information. We'll put it in the description box below so people will know how to get a hold of you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you, because I have you. I don't know if you're aware, but you have an energy that, like, I understand even without you saying a specific ABC. Like, I have an understanding of a tarot reading or tarot cards from your perspective now that I never had before, and I hope our audience gets that too. Cool. Because it kind of opened me up. I feel an openness with it too.
Great, thank you.
So I really appreciate that.
Oh, I'm delighted.
And it was like so much fun.
Yeah,
it was, and I feel the same way. I've never heard the tarot described in the way
eloquent.
that you explained it, and it was beautiful.
Thank
so
you.
Thank you so much. Yay!
I'm honored to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks, Julia.
Do you have anything to say before we go?
Oh, I think we've said it. I feel pretty done, but yeah, namaste.
Namaste. Well, thank you guys for listening. As I said, all the information about today's show will be in the description box below. Hit it up and leave us a comment, and look for us on our Facebook Empower page.
Yes.
Yay. Talk to you guys soon. Have a really great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.